Hello and welcome into the Wild Tales podcast, the podcast that was just awarded #1 new podcast by Podcast Weekly magazine, an award and a publication that I just made up. But come on, I think if it was real, this podcast should get it, right? Or maybe that's just me. I'm your host, Mike Bona. Thank you for tuning in. I'm very excited about today's guest. I got a very funny comedian and a good friend of mine, Taylor Williamson. Taylor has been doing stand-up comedy since the age of 17. He was runner-up on America's Got Talent on season 8. And he's also a very passionate lover of all animals. He supports my wildlife conservation fundraisers. He's performed at my Last for Giraffes comedy show. He is a great guy. And he also is the proud puppy dad of a cute little Chihuahua pup named Betty. You can follow Betty on Instagram at Betty the Puppy Doggy. And I guess if you want to follow Taylor too, you can follow him at Taylor Comedy. I'm not sure if Taylor really understood the premise of the podcast. We went on several tangents. I tried to keep him on track of telling the story about how he acquired Betty, how Betty entered his life. But instead, he tried to use his time here to try to get me canceled, which actually is pretty funny. If you think some of the things that we say here is bad, you should hear the stuff that I edited out. So enough with the chit chat. Let me get to my chat with the very funny Taylor Williamson.
I would never blame myself. It's always your fault.
Oh, hey buddy, how you doing?
Like in any marriage, it's always your fault.
Are we married?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Today, how long is this? 3 hours?
It's well, this is the special 11th episode spectacular, so it'll be I think 15 hours we're going.
Oh, I'm so honored. Wow. To be the 11th guest, that's a high honor. Thank you, pal.
I'm surprised it's lasted this long, so we'll see. Hopefully you don't destroy it.
I probably will.
So what, you have a week off from touring? Is that the deal?
Kind of. I mean, I'm working in town, and then I go to Calgary, Alberta, Canada on New Year's Eve. Yeah, dude, I have a viral video now. I don't get a lot of those, but I talk about last time I was there was negative 40 degrees. And for whatever reason, because everyone hates themselves and the social media algorithms are controlled by entities that want to destroy us. So the video is just me in Calgary because it was negative 40 degrees Celsius and Fahrenheit. They become the same when it gets that cold. I didn't know that. I'm sure you know that because you're smarter than me. And so I'm on stage. I'm on stage being like in all my winter clothes, and I'm just like, why do you live here? This is freezing. What's wrong with you people? I'm being silly. I love performing in Calgary, but like people are all like 50 Shades of Gray. Like everyone wants to be like abused and roasted and all this stuff. And someone told me like, wow, your video blew up on TikTok. You should go to every city and roast them and post it. I'm like, is that gonna be my thing? I go to Cleveland and I'm like, well, I thought this place rocks. I guess Drew Carey shows. I like Cleveland. I don't know. I don't want to be that guy. Why are we all slaves to this algorithm? This is things that zookeepers don't have to worry about.
Oh, we go and talk trash about other zoos. Actually, I was just at the San Francisco Zoo yesterday.
Wow.
But they're supposed to be getting pandas. I don't know if it's going to happen, but that was like the big news this past year. The San Francisco Zoo is supposed to get pandas.
That's great.
So I mean, yeah, but it's pandas. I don't know. They're cool, but you have to pay.
You hate pandas?
You have to pay the Chinese government like $1 million per animal to house them, like a rental fee. I don't know if they're worth it.
You know what? That always sounded like a scam to me, but now that I have a dog and people are like, I'll watch your dog, and then they tell me $40 a night, and I'm like, that's what you're paying me? Because my dog is cute like a panda bear? You should pay me to take care of my dog like a panda.
It's a privilege. I mean, Betty's famous. You're like living with a celebrity.
You know her name.
Everyone knows her name. I think she has more followers than you do.
Careful.
I saw Betty on the news recently. She did great.
Thank you. You got me correct. She met her birth mom a few days ago. Exclusive to, what's your show called? Wild Weenies?
Wild Tales. Thank you
Betty
for appearing on my podcast.
Betty eats wild weenies. Did you know that?
What's a wild weenie?
It's like high quality food from the dog food store
Oh.
called Wild Weenies. But Betty met her birth mother. This is exclusive to you. This has not been posted on the internet.
Oh my goodness.
She met her birth mom.
She's beautiful.
Which one?
Her mom. They both are.
I know, but I got the sexier one. Let's just be honest. But they messaged me on Twitter like in February, and then they're like, this guy's like, "Did you get your dog at the shelter?" And I was like, I tell people I bought her because I'm trying to lean into being a bad person, you know. But
it's working.
Thank you. I want to be like a heel, you know.
You're making fun of cities. You're buying dogs. You're like the worst.
I buy all the dogs. I don't like even take care of them. I just buy them. No, I got her at the shelter. And then this guy's like, "Did you get your dog at the shelter?" He sent me a picture of his dog, and I was like, "Oh my God, that's Betty's." I knew it was Betty's mom because I had pictures of them together, and then he's been trying to meet up with me, but like I'm only available weekdays, and he's only available weekends, and we finally did it. Also, I was like worried about getting murdered, you know, like some strangers like, "Let's meet up," and I'm like, I don't know, you know. And I don't like seeing my friends. I don't want, you know, I'm not even kidding, dude. I didn't want to hang out with my friends. I'm not gonna hang out with some stranger. I really just wanted to meet the dog. I really just wanted to kidnap his dog.
I get it.
I literally I couldn't have two dogs. I'm a single guy living by myself. I couldn't have two dogs. But if someone's like, "Do you want Betty's mom?" I'd be like, "Yeah, I have two dogs now." And anyways, they met. It wasn't well, I mean, spoiler alert, I guess, but do you think that they would have known each other and like been like, it's been 4 years, do you think they would have been like, "Oh my God, I miss you"? Or
they probably could care less about who each other are to each other. Did they?
But they were bonded before.
Yeah,
they
but
were like
4 years. I don't think they really.
But they
like
were
if there were wild dogs back in her ancestry, you know, back when little Chihuahua Betty was a fierce canine wolf warrior,
right.
They would be like, you know, they would leave the pack. They would leave mom after a certain amount of time to join other packs and herds. And what's a group of wolves called? Is it a pack? I don't even know. I should know that. I'm an animal guy, but
it's called a wolf gang.
Well, Mozart.
Is it not called a wolf gang?
I'm gonna go with it. I want to say yes.
It should be, don't you think?
Look, the guest is always right on this show.
A gang of wolves is a wolf gang.
That was ferocious.
I mean, anyways, that's what it should be. But they didn't care about each other. They're just kind of like, I said to my cousin that she was kind of like, when she saw her mom, it wasn't like, "Leave me alone," but it was just kind of like, it was kind of like when I saw my estranged father for the first time in 20 years, just kind of like, "Yeah, hey. Yeah. I know you, yeah. How are you? Okay." It was like that.
But that's how it was between Betty and Betty's mom?
Yeah, Betty was like, "Hello, Rita." You know?
Rita?
That's her mom's name is Rita.
I like that. Hello, Rita. I like how they have like human names. Like, hey,
yeah,
Rita.
it's funny how that worked out. She came with the name Cookie Crumbles, and I was like, I can't do this.
No, so you named her after the incomparable Betty White. Is that accurate?
That's fair. I mean, she wasn't named after anyone, but I met a mom, like, of real people, and she said she took a month to name one of her kids, which is kind of crazy, I think, honestly. But I was like, well, I can take a month to name my dog. So I took a month, and I was like, I was calling her Baby and Buddy. She was a very tiny lady, like, you know, like 3.8 pounds or something, or less than that, actually. And then I'm like, "Baby, baby, Buddy," you know? And then like Betty is in there somewhere, you know? And I was like, there we go.
Baby Betty Boo Boo puppy.
Yeah. Boo Boo was a possibility, I suppose.
So what was more impressive to Betty? Meeting her mom or meeting John Travolta?
I mean, that's a fair question. She wasn't too impressed by John Travolta either, honestly. He was impressed.
Obviously.
I brought Betty to the Comedy Store, the comedy club, and then I'm in the back area where people hang out, and I've been going there for over 20 years. I've never had a night where anyone super cool like that hangs around.
Excuse me.
And
I've been there.
sure, but you weren't hanging around. You're in and out. You're like, thanks for the free tickets. I'm out of here. You know?
Fair enough.
This guy was like, I'm not sure. I'm not the roast guy, buddy. I'm a fan of you. I'm a fan of you and giraffes and pangolins. I name drop you to my other pangolin zookeeper friends.
You're a zookeeper groupie. I like that.
I know. I got a West Coast zookeeper and an East Coast zookeeper. That's it. I don't want more. I had a guy in maybe Syracuse, who introduced me to a sloth once, and I was like, all right, we did it, you know? But I'm more of a giraffe keeper guy than a sloth keeper guy. But then anyways, but back in the back area, John Travolta and Tommy Lee came in and they saw my puppy. And then they were just like in love with my puppy. And then I talked to John Travolta for like an hour and a half, and he was the nicest, sweetest guy. And it was like all because of my dog. Everything good in my life is because of my dog. So I think everyone should get a dog except for the person whose dog ate their face after they died. But he was dead though. Did you hear about this?
No. Wait, so the guy died in his home, I'm assuming, and the dog ate his face? I could probably put the pieces together.
What were the pieces? You think he died because he smothered his face in turkey and he suffocated, and then
Was
his dog?
This a Thanksgiving death?
Listen, I haven't fact checked this, but my buddy listened to this podcast, and he's a nice person. This isn't some crazy guy. He's like a smart, thoughtful guy. But he was telling me that he listened to some podcast, and it was talking about how this man had German Shepherd, and he died, and the German Shepherd ate his face after 45 minutes. And the whole conversation, the story was about how, I'm misquoting, and it's just a telephone game or whatever, and I haven't listened to it myself, but I believe this guy. Like, I believe he heard this on a podcast, and I'm sure I'm saying it slightly wrong, but he was saying how dogs, at least, when they're like, hey, buddy, what's up, to their owner or whatever, they might lick you, they might nudge you, whatever. And then after that, after lick doesn't work, then they nudge you. Then they might give you like a cute bite, you know?
Yeah.
And then they might do a little bit more, you know? But then at some point, they've never had to go that far before. Like, they're just like, they've always gotten the attention at some point, you know? But when you're dead, they're like, their brain gets confused, you know? So then they bite harder, and then meat comes out of it. And then they're like, oh, I love meat. And then his brain got confused and just ate the whole thing. How do you feel about this?
I feel disturbed. I don't like, this isn't this type of podcast. We don't tell dark, disturbing stories like this.
I don't know if the guy was passed away already. I think we're talking about animal nature.
It's true. It is animal nature. And maybe it was time has passed and the dog didn't get his dinner.
It was 45 minutes.
You have a dog. Are they hungry all the time?
If she's not hungry, I don't know. I haven't. I get worried because my dog's 4.6 pounds. At Betty the puppy doggy, DOGGY on Instagram. That's the reason we're here. But I feel like if I gave her like actual chicken meat, like chicken, she would eat for the rest of her life. And I haven't tested that because she's so tiny. But will dogs eat forever?
No. Some dogs have self-control. Some will eat forever. It's individually based.
She doesn't with other food, but with meat, I'm always like skeptical.
Do you think? Well, let's talk about Betty. How did Betty enter your life?
Mike, during COVID time, my quarantine, like the people I chose to, you know, everyone remembers that. You like choose to be around these people instead of people that make you happy, you know? And during COVID, you know, and then my cousin's family, and they have little kids and whatever, and like they have a dog who was my best friend, this guy Chase, and then so for a year they would give me their dog to go home with because I'm a lonely single man living by myself, and like I'd go to their house, it's my family, like little kids, but I would take the dog home with me every day, and then when I go visit, I'd bring the dog. But I basically had their dog for a year. Then after a year, these like selfish kids are like, we want our dog back, and they're crying, and I'm like, I'm 40. I need the dog. You're 6. You don't need anything. I love this guy. I take him on bike rides. I took him to the beach. What do? You don't do anything, And then we went to court. And then the mom said that the court mom said, listen, if you get your own dog, we'll watch it when you travel. Because that was a concern of mine, is like, what do I do when I travel? I'm a comedian or whatever. And then so I went to shelters, and like it was really hard to get a dog, like during COVID, but like the shelters, they people say adopt, don't shop, and all this stuff. And then when you try to adopt, the shelters are like, we hate you. You are not the kind of person we want to adopt an animal, because our animals are special and you're not, and you suck and we hate you. And like, I'm all about adopting animals, and then they don't want you. I have a buddy who was like, he was walking his dog, his girlfriend's dog, and then everyone in LA, they go, oh, is that a rescue? That's the first thing they ask, is that a rescue? It's so judgy, by the way. Again, I'm all about it, but like people are like intense. And then he's like, he has to give a whole speech, because you can't just say no, because people give you dirty looks, like you're a monster, And but he's like, my girlfriend was rejected from rescuing dogs because she lives in an apartment, and people are like, you can't have a dog. So she had to buy it. If she wanted love in her life, but my hairy thing, she would either have to move to Italy or get a dog, Italian dogs. Anyways, I was trying to think, what's a race I'm not going to get canceled for saying the hairy? I was like, I could say Jewish. I'm Jewish, but it's Hanukkah. I don't want to put, listen, let's focus here. So I'm not good at roasting. I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings, I don't, but so
don't
then
worry, I'm not Calgary. You can just roast away. You won't offend me.
I don't want to hurt your feelings. You take care of giraffes and pangolins. So, I think you asked me a yes or no question, and I've just gone off on a
I don't remember what I asked. Who rescued who? Is that?
So the point is that then this one shelter was like, you have to live in South LA to get a dog from us. I'm like, how about I live in a different part of LA, and then I'll come get the dog and I'll come give it a great life? Like, what's wrong with you? Anyway, and there's this one shelter I went to, and then they're like, you can pick 3 dogs. Then they're like, you have to, if you want a puppy, you have to meet it. You can't meet it. You just have to pick it and then come get it. And I'm like, but I thought the dog picks you, that whole thing, and they're like, no, whenever it's a puppy, that doesn't work like that. But then they're like, you can meet 3 dogs. If they're over 6 months old, you can meet them. So she's like, you can pick 3 to meet, or you can volunteer and snuggle all the dogs and do like a volunteer snuggle session. I'm like, what? I can meet 3, or I could snuggle a bunch of dogs? I'm going to snuggle all of them, you maniac.
Is the first option like, let's make a deal? Like, you meet a dog and they say you can keep this dog or take what's behind door number 2.
That's a great question. I mean, honestly, it probably is like that, because their whole thing is, if you're not holding the dog, someone else can get the dog. That's like their thing. So it is like that. So I volunteered to snuggle all the dogs, and it was really cute for a minute. Really, for like 7 minutes, it was cute. Then they start peeing everywhere and they smell bad. And I'm like, I don't know about this. But all the dogs are like, pick me. I'll love you forever. And like, it's cute. And I'm like, maybe I'll take like these not cute dogs, There's not cute dogs. They're like, I love you. And I'm like, I can love you, It's not just about looks, And like, but then they're like, oh, here's the one dog you wanted to meet. And then they gave me Betty, formerly known as Cookie Crumbles. And like, I held her, and she was like, like indifferent. And like, that was very attractive to me, because I didn't have good parents, So like, the like girls who are like, don't care, I'm like, oh, I want her, And
I forgot to tell you, your mom listens to this podcast.
Listen, it's good for her to know. I love her. Happy Hanukkah, Mom. But it's she did the best she could with what she was given, and then so it'd be so funny if my mom's like the biggest fan of your show. She should be. She used to take me to the San Diego Zoo and the Wild Animal Park, not the Safari Park, the Wild Animal Park. I was a member.
You're old school.
I'm old school. I go to Jack Murphy Stadium. and I go to the Del Mar Fair, and I go to the San Diego Zoo and the Wild Animal Park. Thank you.
And you support the San Diego Chargers.
This is very good, sir. And the San Diego Clippers as well.
Oh wow, yeah, I forgot about that one.
Yeah, that was after I was born. The San Diego Clippers. I was like 40, I think, when that happened. But anyways, you know what's sad for me, by the way? So then I got that dog. But what's sad for me also is I tell jokes about being 40, and I used to tell jokes about being 40, and that was like funny because I was like 23, but now I'm like almost 40, so there's no humor in it anymore.
You just have to up it. You get make jokes about being 60.
I don't know. I was at Thanksgiving with this. Don't go to other people's families for Thanksgiving, so I did that kind of, and then like I went to my family, but then afterwards I went to this other family, and then this little 14-year-old girl was like really smart and funny, and I was like, I'm like 56, I can't do these things anymore, and she just like continued the conversation, and I stopped and I was like, did you think I was 56? She was like, no, but I thought I thought you look younger, but I didn't want to be rude. And I'm like, what? I was like, how do you think I am? She's like 32, and I'm like, I don't believe anything you're saying. You thought I was 56. And anyways, I called the police.
You're my favorite. You're my favorite person who's a comedian.
Ew.
What?
That means you're like, I'm a big Bill Cosby fan, but I don't like him as a person.
Oh, have you heard his albums? He's so funny.
Mike. Wow, you're like, I've been like how you are, where like I'm trying to start cursing more on stage, and like I'm trying, because I was always cute and I was America's Got Talent guy, but now I'm trying to like be a real man,
You
and like
should. At 56 years old, it's time to step up and be a real man.
but I feel like you're going through the same thing where it's like you're like, I'm a giraffe keeper and people know I'm the nice guy at the zoo, but then you're like, now you're like, no, I gotta start saying racist things and be myself, and I really respect that.
So you got Betty from the shelter. But I like your story how they don't want to give you any dogs, and it's like you're at the shelter. It's like we'd rather kill this dog than give it to you to take.
Dude, I mean, I haven't been in the kill shelter, sir, but they do exist. I hear that it's really sad and terrible out there, honestly.
Where's Betty now? You talk about the famous celebrity dog with more followers than you, and she's not even like in your arms right now.
No, she's doing her own thing. She knows you, right? Your wife was very supportive and helpful when I first got her. She went through a lot of separation anxiety. It was very sad and scary for me and for her.
Yeah, she knows what she's doing, unlike me. But that's why I connected you with her. She knows
I'm
stuff.
so grateful, for real.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, she lived with her mom. She lived in a hoarding situation with 20 dogs and her mom for 6 months at least. So like, she was like too attached to her mom. Usually, like it's like 3 months or 6 weeks, or I don't know. Dogs aren't usually with their mom for that long, and so they were absurdly bonded. And but it took a long time for my dog, to get bonded to her new mom, this guy.
Yeah. You did one of my Laughs for Giraffes shows, and you brought Betty with you. Remember that one way out in Monrovia? You're giving me a hard time making you drive all the way out there.
Oh yeah, I brought Betty to that one, right?
Yeah, you let me hold Betty, and she just melted in my arms, and you said that was a big deal. She doesn't react that way to most people.
I remember this clearly. She still doesn't like. There's not many people that she'll allow to hold her and just be chill at first meeting, but also even people she's known a long time to be held on her back like a baby. But Giraffe Keeper Mike has the special energy with the animals.
There's a reason I work with animals. I do have a certain vibe. They're relaxed around me most of the time. Not always, but Betty was. She's very sweet.
That's amazing. Do you think you could be friends with any animal?
No. I think I can, but in reality, no, I can't.
What about like a hippo?
A hippo? I've been friends with a hippo before.
Hippos?
Yeah, we used to have hippos. I used to take care of them a little bit, and they I mean, there's a protective barrier. I wouldn't like walk into an exhibit with a hippo, but I can like give them food like through a fence or over a wall, and I can pat them on the nose and pet them and give them some food.
Don't they eat people?
They do, but that's out in the wild.
So you didn't feed them people?
Most of the time, no. Mostly it was just vegetables.
Wow. And are they upset because they want to eat people?
They don't want to eat people. They don't actually eat people for the most part. They protect their territory in the wild because mostly they're herbivores. They eat plants.
Really?
But they protect their area in the wild. They have like a territory, and if you walk into that territory, especially at night because they're nocturnal, and they'll come out of the water to eat like plants and vegetations in the ground, and they are surprisingly fast and agile for their size. So if they think you're a threat and you're in their area, they're going to attack and kill you, and then just leave you there. They're not going to eat you. They don't eat people.
They're not like dogs.
They're not going to eat your face.
Wait, then why did the Lord give them that chomper?
To fight with other males, other hippos.
Oh. To fight with hippos?
Yeah, they defend their territory against other hippos. They have to defend themselves against lions and other predators.
But do they eat hippos?
No, they don't eat hippos. They just fight them. They might try to, injure them and hurt them, and I don't think they're usually deadly, but
who'd win in a fight, a hippo or a lion? Or a bear?
Or a bear. You've
or
been throwing more animals?
Or an alligator. Or a mongoose.
I think a hippo would.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, you don't want to mess with a hippo.
Or what about mongooses, though?
Mongooses are small against a hippo.
But
all of them would win in a fight against you, if that's...
Mike, I don't know where this attitude comes from, but this is not the Hanukkah spirit that I was promised.
I'm sorry. I did say you. It sounded personal, but I meant against any people in general. Even myself included.
Against the Jewish people? Is that what you're saying?
You're really trying to get me canceled. I love the Jewish people. I love all people.
Okay.
All right. Are we good? Can I keep my podcast? Can I keep my job?
What are your favorite things about the Jewish people?
Top 5, quick. No.
There's no good answer. I'll protect you because you're my friend.
Oh, they have a great sense of humor. I love how they run Hollywood. They're doing a great job.
Mike, I'm trying to stay classy because I don't know what kind of vibe you're going for here, Mike. But you just got canceled for the 5th time just now.
Oh no, I don't know what. I think you somehow bring this out of me. You're a bad person.
Listen, Mike, can I tell you? I don't know how the animal welfare business goes. Is that the business you're in? Animal welfare, kind of.
Yes. Well, sure. Yeah.
But in the entertainment business, here's how it works. Don't get canceled unless you get canceled and then you have tens of millions of fans and views and followers. Then you're back in. So honestly, I think the coolest thing you could do for your career is just go hard, say the most terrible, offensive, hateful stuff, and then get all the attention is like, who's Mike? Oh, he's that draft keeper who just, just says all the terrible things. But then you get so big, and then you're your own you have your own you're doing that. You have your podcast, then you just people. Then you get so notorious that people want to give you their lions to take care of and stuff.
I don't want lions to take care of. I have enough animals as it is.
I'm just trying to help your career, buddy.
All right, so become untouchable by being the worst person possible.
That's all the people I know who are famous right now. They're all just monsters who just got canceled and got so famous that the industry is like, I guess, I don't know. I guess we go with it, I'm
not sure if that's what I want.
I don't know if it's what I want either, but it's been recommended to me by...
Although I'm pretty big, this podcast is listened by literally dozens of people.
Good. That's great. When do you bring out the animals for us to meet?
Oh, that's not what this is about. It's an audio podcast. I can pretend I have an animal. And
that's really funny. That's what you should do. That's for audio podcast. That's great. Just say, we have a boa constrictor today.
Oh, check it out. Look at this capybara I brought on the podcast. Isn't it adorable?
Do you have access to exotic animals? If I brought you on my podcast that I'm rebooting called Almost Alpha, could you bring me a dangerous animal that you're not supposed to have?
Possibly. I mean, I have my own personal animals at home that are not dogs and cats. I can bring you a ball
I'm
python.
not saying your children. I'm talking
Not
about
my
like
children. I have a scorpion at home. You want a scorpion on your podcast?
it's. I mean, that's cool. It is very. I mean, listen, that is cool. But I'm looking for
A
like
bearded dragon? There you go. I got you covered.
a possum, maybe. Could
You
you
know,
do the? Could
know
we?
people. I might be able to.
But if we could do a Jack Hanna segment where you have like 6 different animals you bring out and tell us about it, could you do that? I mean, I'm asking you to do so much work. Could you
No,
travel to Burbank
I would love to do that. Travel all the way to Burbank.
and bring like a limousine, respectfully, full of like 12 different species that are dangerous?
Okay, I know people that have animals that can come out, potentially dangerous ones. You'll send me the limousine, and then we'll set this up. Is that what we're talking about?
I would do that. Can you get us like a koala bear?
First of all, they're not bears. We're gonna learn something right now. They are marsupials
But why are they called koala bears?
because people are dumb and they look like cute little adorable bears. That's not about. You made it look like I was calling you dumb, which wasn't my intention. I love you. And I think you're very smart.
This is sexual harassment and
That's
hatred.
not-
There's all the things. You got canceled again like 3 more times.
Oh, I can't win. No, I don't think I know. I can't get you a koala.
Koala bear?
I'll look into it.
How about like what were those capybara?
Capybaras, they're
Capybara?
awesome. Yes, you know what I'm talking about?
Can you give me a capybara?
No,
And how about an owl?
maybe. Ooh, maybe.
You really could?
I'm not saying yes. I'm saying I know people.
Mike, can I be honest? I don't know why you would ever do something like this for me with me, but it would be the greatest thing that's ever happened to me, and it'd be the highlight of my life, honestly.
Let me tell you. So I've been doing my last for draft show. You've done it a couple of times. I've been doing it since when did I start? 2015, 2016. So
Yeah.
I've had a lot of comedians that have done the show, and I appreciate all of them. They've all been great. They all
All
volunteer
of
their time.
them.
Most of them. No, they've all been great.
There's a
They've
couple.
all been great, and I love how they volunteer their time to support wildlife conservation. But you are the only comedian that I've invited to the show the first time you did it, and you volunteered to help promote the show ahead of time. And you came to the zoo. We made silly videos, and you're the only one that's like, "Yeah, I'll do the show and help you promote it and get the word out."
I mean, I'll be honest, like I genuinely was grateful to do it, but also you were like, we could hang out with the giraffe. And I'm like, yeah, dude. Oh my God. Can you bring a giraffe to Burbank?
No,
It's
That's-
already, isn't it already in Burbank?
it's as close, but no, they don't leave their home, Taylor. I don't have a leash long enough to bring a giraffe. How tall is the ceiling in your studio? How big are the doors?
How about like a baby giraffe?
I don't have a baby giraffe. I'll have to make one first.
Maybe what if we did like, could we do a on location episode?
We'll talk. We'll have to talk. I don't.
Listen, what I say, who needs your job, right? Go out with a bang. My show we could get like 2,000 viewers.
Wow, that many.
And here's what hurts my feelings. If my show got like 10 million viewers, like you and the zoo would be like, yeah, let's do it big. We'll promote the zoo. But since my show's new and doesn't have a big audience, like you guys are like, you're scum.
I'm offering to do your show. I'm finding animals I want to steal and smuggle into your show.
Smuggle, yeah. Give me some like how even like a mink. A mink. What's the other one that's like illegal, but like weird kids in 8th grade have them? A ferret.
Ferret. Oh yeah, there's a ferret on every corner.
Is there really?
Probably. You go to a pet store in California. So ferrets are illegal in California, but if you go to a pet store, they have a whole ferret section of like food and toys and supplies you can get for them because they know.
Stop.
Yeah, because they know people have them.
Stop.
Most veterinarians will treat them and be like, we'll treat them. We won't say anything.
This is wild.
Yeah. You've seen the koala in the zoo though, right? They sit in a tree. They hardly move, and you stare at them wondering if they're real. So I can just bring a stuffed animal. People won't know. They won't know. We'll trick your viewers.
How dare you?
What?
Trick my viewers. Trick your viewers. Let's trick your viewers. I'm holding a koala right now. How dare you? That was your idea, was scamming everyone thinking you're holding an animal. Disgusting.
Listeners, he's lying to you. He's a lying liar.
We all heard it.
We all
heard it. You can cut it out, but we all heard it.
That's it. I'm putting my capybara away.
No. Betty, come here. We'll see if we can get her. Betty does a thing where she comes up to people and me, like, and then she sniffs and like kind of laughs and runs away. Betty, come here. It's so sad to have to pretend to give her food to get her onto your show. Betty.
This is it. This is the big moment. This is what we've all been building up towards, the actual appearance of Betty the Wonder Dog.
Betty. She knows this. She's about to get scammed. Come here.
Come on, Betty.
Come here. Betty. Hold on. This is good stuff. Hold on. Betty, come here.
Headphones are off. He's walking away. He's going to get the dog. Betty does not want to be a part of this podcast. She's refusing. She's like, I'm too big for your podcast. Taylor.
She's very suspicious.
Oh, there she is. There she is. Betty, you're adorable.
You know what I just realized, though? After that 5 minutes of, what do you call it? Dead air. The problem with having all your wild animals on my Almost Alpha podcast show is that Betty will be sitting on my lap, and we can't have any that will eat her alive.
Oh, so no koalas.
So maybe we'll pass on the koala bear.
They're vicious carnivores.
They really are, aren't they?
All wild animals can be dangerous.
Especially Chihuahua Poodle mix. You know what did you ever do a DNA test on your animals?
I did.
And how do you feel about the results?
I hate the results.
Are you the father?
Well, we have this little mutt that we got last year. She's about a year and a half old. And turns out she has husky in her. And huskies are such whiny little talkers. She's so obnoxious sometimes. She's all around mutt, but it seems like the negative traits of all of the breeds are what express themselves in her. She's a monster.
Oh, sorry about that. So Betty, she prances when she walks, and I couldn't understand why. Like, it's like she like trots like a German soldier, which is not my preferred type of movement in my household. But she's part toy poodle, allegedly, according to the DNA test, and that's they all do that, you know. So that makes sense. And but I did the DNA test. We paid $50 extra. It's like $100 for the DNA test. Then it's like $50 extra for a health screening. So I did that. Now they're like, by the way, $100 more. You can find out her birthday. And I'm like this close to doing it.
Her birthday?
Like, yeah, her actual birthday.
From the DNA?
Yeah, I don't know how old she is, but that's what it says.
I didn't know they could do that.
Yeah, it's kind of amazing. I mean, even if it's a week off, I'd be so curious, you know? But the health, I logged into that because there's updates, like with technology, I don't know. But like, it tells you the relatives. That's a weird thing that happens too. And like, so she has, was it COI, like inbred coefficiency or something, or inbred,
okay.
You know what I'm talking about?
No, but I'm
going to tell you.
Look it up.
Your wife knows what's up. Why is she?
Probably.
I should be on her show. Why am I on this show? Hold on. This is worth. Anyways, it said she's 39% inbred.
Seems like a okay percentage.
Really?
I don't know. As long as she's healthy, it's fine.
Well, it said she also is negative for all the like like inbred, like she has 0% health abnormalities.
Then you're good.
But she's 39% inbred. How is that possible?
You said she was from a hoarder house?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably all the dogs in there just breeding with each other.
But like, it's embarrassing, isn't it?
I mean, you're the one spraying that information to the world. No one has to know, but they do now.
That's a good point, honestly. I never thought of it like that. Like, I could be saying she's 0% inbred.
Yeah.
She's very classy.
It's too late. This is the only part of the podcast I'm leaving in.
Oh, good Lord. Giraffe Keeper Mike. What is the point of this show? Like, what do you want to talk about?
The show's over. I wanted to talk about you and Betty. It's a storytelling podcast. It's about... I love how I'm telling you the premise of the podcast at the end, but just telling the story about how you guys united, and there she is. She's adorable. Betty, you look stoned, but adorable. Look at her eyes.
Her perfect eyes?
Oh, she looks kind of like...
She falls asleep when you hold her.
Let's talk about Almost Alpha. You said that's coming back?
We're really excited about it. Rebrand, reboot, new year, new shows. Less co-hosts. It's great. And Betty's the official co-host now. And we would love to have you on with some silly animals, whatever you could get. We'd make it fun.
Let's talk. We'll do it.
That'd be so much fun. And
that was always my dream. When I was a kid, I wanted to be Jack Hanna. I wanted to be on the TV shows.
Can I tell you, like, yeah, I get it. But like, what's interesting is I always wanted to have a talk show where I could have on people like yourself, you know? But now it's like I should, instead of being grumpy, like I have to make a podcast, and I have to finance it, and I have to ask people to be on, whatever. I need to flip it and be like, okay, this is like the modern talk show. You know, like Jimmy Fallon's only 4 days a week now, and who knows how much longer that's going to last, that kind of stuff, you know? And if Mr. Fallon, if you're listening, I'd love to be on your show. And Mike hates you, but I love you. And Mike loves you too. He has a tattoo of you on his inner thigh.
That was supposed to be a secret.
Do not tell anyone about that, Mr. Fallon. And but I mean, you can, and I encourage you to your dream of being a Jack Hanna. Go on the pod. All the comedians love you and know you. Like, come on the shows with animals and be the guy.
I love that idea. Yours will be the first. We'll do it.
Then you better bring some good ones.
All right. Well, I'll start calling my koala connections now. Let's see what I can do.
But will they try to eat Betty?
We'll keep Betty safe. That'll be my number 2 priority. Number 1 is providing great entertainment for your listeners, right?
Number 1 is Betty's safety always.
All right. Betty's safety, your safety.
I'm down to get bit by something, though.
All right.
For entertainment purposes.
Well, that's how you go viral. You got to get bit in the face by some wild animal.
That you're honestly right. Listen, I gotta go. My wife and my mother-in-law are hounding me.
I think you're hearing what's going on my end. All right.
Like, get off your screens. No more screen time.
I've reached my limit. I reached my limit with you.
Listen, thank you to all your wonderful listeners and everyone who supports animals, even hippos that eat people accidentally.
And thank you for coming on the podcast. Everyone, follow Taylor Williamson at Taylor Comedy. Go see him in your town, especially if you're in a very cold, snowy climate. What else are you going to do? Stay home and sit by the fire and stay warm? No, go see a comedian make fun of your town.
Will you give Betty 3 compliments before we go?
Betty, you are adorable. You are very sweet. And you have a great personality.
We'll accept that.
And you're very smart, too.
All right, do me now real quick.
Taylor, you're very pretty. You're very sweet. And you have a great personality.
It's not too original, but I understand. Well, thank you for having me. And you're a great man. And thank you for all that you do for all the animals, pal.
Thank you, sir. I look forward to seeing you again soon.
Me too, pal.
All right, buddy. Take care. I want to give big thanks to Taylor Williamson for coming on the podcast. That was a lot of fun. He's always enjoyable to hang out with. I love that guy. Follow him on his social media at Taylor Comedy on Instagram, I believe all of his socials. And watch his stand up special on his YouTube channel, Taylor Williamson, live from the Comedy Store. It is a fantastic stand up special. I was there when he recorded at the Comedy Store, the world famous Comedy Store in Hollywood. It is very funny. I guarantee you'll have a good time. Look for the return of his podcast, Almost Alpha, and maybe see me on there in the future. I don't know. Still have to talk about that. We'll work things out. I would love to be on his podcast. We'll see if we can make it happen. So follow Taylor, follow his puppy at Betty the Puppy Doggy on Instagram. And if you want to see Betty after listening to this podcast, I will post videos of Betty on my social media at Wild Tales Pod on Instagram, Wild Tales on Blue Sky. And also, if you have anything else you want to add or you want to say, you want to tell me a story, you want to make your comments, questions, concerns, whatever, you can email me at wildtalespod@gmail.com. I would love to hear from you. There's dogs squeaking a toy in the background. I'm going to leave that in. That's it for this time. Hope you guys had a good time. Can't wait to talk to you again. Stay wild, my friends.